This morning, me and my team will be presenting about capital structure. As you can see on the screen, here are the contents of what we are going to present today. Without wasting any time, I will pass to the first presenter, my friend Nadia.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nadia Nabila binti Hamzah Ali and I'm going to present to you about introduction of capital structure. The theory of capital structure began with the research paper of Modigliani and Miller in year 1958. Capital structure refers to the quantity of the debt and the equity they employ via an association to fund their operation and finance the assets. A firm capital structure is generally expressed as debt to equity or debt to capital ratio. Any kind of debt or equity is accounted for the capital structure. For instance, debt consists of typical business loan, but it more includes to any dealer credit that have the commercial enterprise receive. Both debt and equity come with costs, and these are regarded as the value of capital.
The optimal capital structure is described as a firm that lower its weighted average cost of capital to the lowest possible point. So, when a company decides to raise money, it can choose between debt or equity. Company that has a low average mostly use its equity to fund its asset, while company that has high leverage mostly use its debt to finance the purchase of its asset. So, these companies will have a low or high capital structure depending on the mix of debt and equity. How a company can recapitalize to change its capital structure? The first strategy is to issue debt and repurchase equity. If a company uses the proceeds from issuing debt to buy back shares, it will increase the proportion of debt and decrease the proportion of equity that it has. Alternatively, a company could issue debt and then pay a large dividend to its equity investors. This would have the exact same effect as buying back shares. Conversely, a company could sell new shares, also known as issue equity, and use the proceeds to repay its debt. Since the cost of equity is high and then the cost of debt, company will only do this if they really have to, meaning that if the company is going to have trouble servicing its debts.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Mashita binti Mansor. My matric number is 2021875566. We'll continue with the next slide, which is factor effect capital structure and capital structure decisions. As you can see on the slides, there are 7 factors affecting capital structure. Number 1, size of company. I know you guys also know when the size of company is bigger, it means the potential for long-term financing is also higher. Number 2, nature of business. If your business is a monopoly, you can go for debentures because your sale can give you more adequate profits to pay your debts easily or pay your dividends. If the company is monopoly in the industry, it's move easy to get financing. Number 3, the regularity of earnings. A firm with large and stable incomes may incur more debt in its capital structure unlike the one that is unstable. Meaning, the higher profit that company generate, the higher potential for company to get financing through debts. Number 4, conditions of the company market. Capital market are always changing. You don't want to issue company shares during a bear market. You do it when there is a bull run. Sell when price increase in bull market and buy when price decrease in bear market. Number 5, government policy. This is important to consider. A change in lending policy may increase your cost of borrowing. When interest rate increase, cost of borrowing will also increase, meaning you have to pay more. Number 6, cost of floating. The cost of floating equity is much higher than that of floating debts. This may influence the finance manager to take debt financing the cheaper options. Cost of borrowing is lower than cost of equity. Next is capital structure decisions. The capital structure of a company may be decided at the time of its formation or at a later period. However, any company's management must establish a design capital structure, and all subsequent finance decision must be made with this structure in mind. Capital structure construction is tough because it requires a complex trade-off among numerous aspects or considerations. Capital structure must develop with the purpose of maximization of wealth in mind. Since the interest of debt financing is a tax-deductible expense, it is the cheapest source of the long-term financing when compared to the other sources of equity. Consequently, debt can be recognized as a tax-sheltered source of financing, which contribute to the maximization of shareholder wealth. Number 2 is the flexibility. When it comes to figuring out the best way to organize the company finance, flexibility is the more critical issue to take into account. The ability of a company to adjust its capital structure in response to shifting market conditions is one of the definitions of flexibility. Due to the changing conditions, there may be a need for additional money for investment, or there may be no need for funds that have been raised. In other words, a company's financial plan should be adaptable to its operational strategy and requirement. Number 3, industry leverage ratio. Industry standards serve as a standard. Capital structure can be constructed using the leverage ratio of the industry as a benchmark. Since industry standard may be applicable to the business, it does not imply, however, that enterprises in the industry have the optimal capital structure. Simply said, they may be utilizing more or less leverage, but this implies that if the corporation is out of line, it should be aware of the reason and be confident that they are valid. Number 4, degree of competition. Industry competition also impact the capital structure when there is little or no rivalry, meaning public utility corporations such as gas, electricity, and other things. Also, enterprises can utilize less equity or more debt in their capital structure since they can charge higher prices for their goods. On the other hand, competitive enterprises such as those in the apparel and home appliance industries must utilize a greater proportion of equity in the capital structure. As a result, they may not be able to sell more units or generate a greater profits. The next one is company characteristic. These indicate company size and credit worthiness within or outside industry. Small enterprises can't raise as much money as huge ones. Small businesses rely on owner funds to operate. Investors view small enterprises as riskier than huge firms. Large enterprises must be multiple funding source because no single source is enough. Other than this, there are also factors affecting capital structure decision, which is control, agency cost, and other factors affecting capital structure.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Daniel Danish bin Muhammad Syaimi from class RBA2423A. Now, I would like to present about financial distress. Generally, financial distress is a situation when an organization unable to pay or meet its financial obligation that may lead to the bankruptcy. So, insolvency is a term to explain about the detail about financial distress. There are two concepts of insolvency. The first one is a corporation. The second one is refer to an individual. The first term is a corporation, which means even a well-managed corporation might go through time of financial turmoil. It means even big corporations like Petronas, PMV and others must face the problem that being faced by other corporations. Because financial distress can arise for a variety of causes, some of which are absolutely outside of the control of company and related to the decision making and the incompetence of the management. The second term refer to the individual, which a person who experience the financial distress may find themselves in a situation where their debt exceeds their monthly incomes. It means that person have a lot of commitment, need to settle it every month. This include items such as a home, rent payments, credit cards and utility bills and other monthly expenses. People who experience in this kind of situation might go through it for an extended period and they may be compelled to fight their asset secured by their accumulation, losses their home and or automobile, or face eviction. Thank you, that's all from me.
Next, I will present to you about the integration of tax effect and financial cost of distress. It is the value of the economic distress scenario in which firm find it's hard to pay back of the obligation and liabilities. Indirect costs, conflict of interest, financial ruin fees and higher fees of capital are the most accurate example of charge that are related with financial misery costs. According to the factor of view, a company cost extend when the agency begins shifting toward the debt from equity. Now, come to the effect of debt financing. In this situation, the likelihood of distress is small because of the existing price of the minimal misery cost. As we can see in the graph that the existing value of monetary distress value increased, then the present price of tax shield on debt also will increase in response.
Next, we will discuss about agency cost of equity. Agency cost of equity refers to the conflict of interest that arises between management and shareholders. When management makes decisions that might not be in the best interest of the firm and that shareholders view as an action that will not increase the value of their shares, an agency cost of equity has arisen. For example, management may believe that a merger will be the best step forward for the business, whereas the shareholders see that the merger will not help grow the business, and the money spent on the merger could be better used in paying dividends and investing in other areas. The costs associated with stopping the merger, such as lobbying, will be the agency cost of equity. The shareholders will have to pay this expense as long as management's interests differ from those of the shareholders. Management may feel compelled to make suboptimal actions that may not increase the firm's worth. There will be a cost connected with any actions taken to oversee and avoid this. As a result, the agency cost will include both the cost of the poor decisions and the cost of monitoring management to keep them from making poor decisions.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Azim bin Ahmad Sabri from RBA2423A. My metric number is 2021-888-246 and I want to discuss the pecking order theory. Pecking order theory is one of the solutions to counter any obligation. For an example, if that company facing difficulties to pay any loan or monthly payment, so the managers can choose that theory by follow the hierarchy of sources of financing to fund their firm. The pecking order theory stated that firm will prefer return earning, and then the second option is debt or bond, and the last one is equity. The reason for this preference because return earning is easy to access and low cost if compared to the debt and equity. As we know, if any company or firm do make a loan with a bank, normally bank or lenders or creditors will demanding for interest for their profit. So when we choose return earning, we can save our cost and we can increase the profit. And the reason why choose the return earning is asymmetric information, which means asymmetric information occurs when one party knows more information compared to another party and leads to imbalanced information, such as a manager knowing more about their firm in many ways as risk and performance. But from the other side, investors and creditors lack information and may create their own inference based on external sources of financing. So that's why we choose the return earning compared to the debt or loan and equity. But on the other hand, when we choose a loan for lenders, this action could lead to the strengthen in the financial, and sometimes the bank will be re-evaluating the credit rating. That's all. Thank you.
Next, we would like to discuss about signaling hypothesis. Dividend signaling is a hypothesis that states that when a firm announces a dividend increase, it is a sign of favorable future prospect. Moreover, many economic agents are driven primarily by a desire to send a positive signal to other agents rather than by their stated aim. This could be a way to solve the asymmetric information problem between sectors. According to the dividend signaling theory, companies that pay the greatest dividend are should or be more profitable than companies that pay lower dividends. Furthermore, the remaining claimants to a company cash flow are its shareholder. Because pledged interest payments are contractual obligation, they take precedence over dividends. Underpricing theory is based on signaling belief that issuing firm managers know more about their firm quality than outside investors. Investors are unable to discern between high quality and low quality enterprise due to incomplete information. As a result, high quality companies tend to underprice their new issue to convey their general worth. However, a company that has a long history of increasing its dividend issue is indicate to the market that its management and board of directors are optimistic about future profitability. That's all from us, and thank you for watching.